Hello, Facebook. This is Grisha. I'm hoping you can hear me with my microphone down here because I'm going to be doing a bit of a presentation. And I think if I have this on, I might be a little tethered. Well, I can hold it for now. Hello again. You may have seen me talk about the Delicious Life Movement program that I am running, and I'm really, really excited to talk about. But for today, I wanted to, talk about like why you are doing all the right things, but you're not getting results, or why you keep self-sabotaging, and share a little bit of my backstory and kind of like what got me here. So lately I have been sharing a little bit more about my relationship with my mom and the kind of stuff that's been happening there. I wrote an article yesterday or the day before about that, which you can find on my blog if you wanted to read that. It was about being raised by an alcoholic and the impact that that had on me as a kid and as now as an adult, and all of the shit that comes with something like that, and maybe you can relate to it. Sorry, I've got my sage burning, so I don't know if you can see. There's my woo-woo side of me. So what I wanted to share, so my backstory is basically around the age of 34. I found myself like at a point where I needed to make some changes with how I was living my life. I had like years and years and years of health issues that I kept going to the doctor about, right? Like I had IBS, which is irritable bowel. And what that means is basically I was like doubled over and cramped in pain almost on a daily basis in my gut area. And every time I went to the doctor about it, they just kept giving me antispasmodic medications, and that was it, right? So nobody ever really treated it in the way that I know now as a professional how to treat IBS. I had migraines a few times a month. They were pretty frequent. I was sick all of the time. Plus, I had all this mindset shit, like I had no confidence. Like I was full of self-doubt. I hated myself most days, couldn't look in the mirror. Like there was a lot of stuff going on. And it all accumulated into like this weight gain that started before I got pregnant, and then I got pregnant, and then I ballooned out. And so after I got pregnant, and I was looking to lose the weight, I was just simply looking to lose the weight. I didn't want to be big anymore, and I wanted to do something about that. And I also wanted a different career. I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore in a job. So I was kind of like looking around and seeing what else there was out there that I could do while I was looking for weight loss. But when I was looking for weight loss, I was like really kind of disappointed with what was out there, right? Like it was all these diets and all these shakes and all these pills and all that kind of stuff. And even without being a nutritionist, even at that point, I knew intuitively that it was just wrong. There was just something about it that made me feel that doesn't feel right to me. But I tried it. I went to a pill popping herbal place that was around the corner from where I lived. And I did a bunch of the pills, and I did the weekly weigh-ins, and I did all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was horrible. Like I hated it. And I remember the booklet, like with the foods that they were giving me. My diet was so shitty at the time, like Kraft Dinner kind of shitty. Microwave my broccoli and put a slice of processed cheese on top kind of shitty. Like I know what it is to eat shitty. I ate shitty forever. And that was like all I ate pretty much for years. And so, but even I was looking at the diet books that was given in these diet programs, and I was like, this stuff isn't healthy. Like there was just something about it all. I tried the ISA whatevers. I tried all sorts of different things, and nothing was working. Nothing worked. Sometimes the weight would shift off and then it would come back again. And anyway, and then as the story goes, I found a personal trainer who, she was also a holistic nutritionist, and that's how I found out about holistic nutrition. And as I mentioned, I was also looking at a shift in career, and that's why I decided to go to school for it rather than just hire a nutritionist to help me out. I wanted to really dive into this, and I knew in my soul that this is what I want to do for a living. This is what I want to do to help people. So, not everybody's story ends with them going to school for whatever help they're looking at getting, but mine did. And But what I found was while I was in the process of doing all of this, losing the weight, that was only a small piece of the puzzle. There was a lot of other stuff still hanging on there, as I mentioned to you. You know, like there was still a lot of lack of confidence and a lack of belief, and you know, I said confidence already. Just like I just didn't like who I was as a person. And so it didn't matter that I lost all the weight, right? Like I did, and it took me about 9 months to lose it all. And my test wasn't the scale. My test was my skinny jeans, the jeans that I wanted to fit back into again. And what I did is I kept pulling them up until, like, I kept trying them on until I could get them up past my thighs. And the day I could get them up past my thighs, I couldn't button them up, but I could get them up past my thighs. I was like, it's working. And that was holistic nutrition. That was really just all the stuff that I teach in terms of just loving food and eating more food and eating the right kind of food and not dieting. I never cut out a single thing. I never followed, like as soon as I stopped doing all that stuff is when I started to lose the weight, and I started to move my body in a different kind of way. I stopped all the cardio, and I started doing body weight stuff. I was doing weights. I was building muscle. And for a period of time, I was getting like even bigger. And I was saying to my trainer, I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm getting huge. But she's like, don't worry, it's muscle. Like muscle burns fat eventually, and there's a period of time where you get bigger before you get smaller, and that's exactly what happened to me, and that's what happens to my clients too. They're always like, Rachel, I'm getting bigger. I was like, don't worry, it's going to come off, it's going to burn off. Don't worry, and it does. But there was still all this numbing activity happening in terms of what I was doing with the rest of my life, right? I was still unhappy. I was still making choices that weren't really good for me in terms of mindset and delicious lifeness that I talk about. So I kept ignoring that problem. I kept just focusing on the food. I kept just like going to school and learning as much as I can. And there was just a point that I got to where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't feel so unhappy and miserable anymore. Like, there's got to be something else here than how I'm feeling emotionally. Like, yeah, okay, I'm back into my skinny jeans now, but I still feel like crap, like emotionally. So I started to research coaches. Now at this point I was in the entrepreneur game. And so I'd now heard of the word coach in this kind of context. And so I was exposed to different kind of coaches, and I started diving deep into personal development, finding the people like Tony Robbins and all those kind of people to look at different ways that I could think and different ways I could process my thoughts and so on and so forth. And I was also coaching at the time, doing nutrition coaching, and started to bring all of that stuff into the nutrition coaching. And I remember hiring my first coach, and that's when I hit another wall. She was incredibly expensive for the time period. And I was just like, I can't afford to do this. Like, it was crazy. It was $15,000 for 8 weeks worth of coaching. And I thought, well, that's a little ridiculous. So I remember hanging up on her and just saying, yeah, see you later. And then about a week later, I was still feeling like shit. I was still just a broken human being, and called her back up and said, okay, let's do this. And I made it happen. I did what I needed to do to make that happen, right? I didn't have the money. There was no 15,000 sitting in a bank account. I was only making, I was making under 100K a year in my job. I had kids, like all of that kind of stuff. But I just knew that I needed to make a radical change. And doing that really did shift everything in my life. Now, I'm not saying that you have to spend $15,000, but I'm just saying, like, for me, that is what started the shift and the journey that I've been on ever since. But it was a really hard decision to make. And, I can see there's a lot of fear around that kind of stuff, around spending money on stuff, like, is it going to work and everything? I get that. But I promise you that it does when you put your intention in there. And then I started to bring in all of that stuff into what I was teaching my clients. And I found that, the surface stuff that I was teaching from nutrition school was only getting us so far. It wasn't really getting to the deep underneath reasons why You know, my clients were having a hard time, like sabotaging themselves, like keeping things going, or why the weight was just struggling. They were struggling to lose the weight or struggling to feel better in their body. When it came to looking at just the digestion things and the adrenal, like the physical stuff that was going on in their body, we were able to put strategies together, but it was more the habits and the mindset that was a lot stickier for me back in the early days. And now with all the tools and strategies that I teach and show my clients, it's a much better format, if you will. So that's kind of like a brief, my backstory there. So this is what I wanted to show you. Oh, hang on, I don't have my light on. I don't know if that makes any difference for you to see me. Okay, so this is like why you diet and do all the right things and can't get results, okay? So this is like, you feel like crap, right? You might have all of these. Most of the clients who end up hiring me privately one-on-one have all of these, and that's why they you know, take the deep dive into one-on-one coaching, because this is a lot to get through, and looking at one thing or piecemealing it just doesn't work anymore. So we've got, like, you know, you feeling like crap. So, you know, you're having some sleep problems. Maybe you're waking, maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Belly fat, thigh fat, back fat. I had them all. Exhausted on waking at 3 o'clock at the end of the day. Like, this is that latte time, you know, bloated either all the time. Either all the time or with certain foods. PMS and menopause, like no sex drive, like issues with your hormones. That's your hormones right there. Anxiety, depression, like me, I suffered from that a lot. Like I had all of these too, by the way. And then like the emotional or stress eating too, right? And then the think like crap, this was all the other stuff that I was saying I had. The doubt, the guilt and shame, low confidence, burnout, feeling overwhelmed, being bitter or resentful, having no time or feeling like you have no time, right? Feeling like you can't or you shouldn't, or doing everything for everybody else and nothing for yourself, or feeling like you're the last on the list and all that. And that nasty voice in your head. I mean, can't she be or he be such a fucking asshole sometimes? Like, seriously. And I know that I wanted to feel more attractive. I wanted to feel like the old me. And I hear this from my clients all the time. I want to feel like the old me again. Like I want to, I look at pictures of myself from before. You can only see it's like a floating head. I look at pictures of myself from before and I don't recognize who I am nowadays, right? So there's a sense and a desire to, be who you used to be. And usually it's not necessarily always a physical thing as much as it is like an emotional, like a freedom, a sense of freedom, a sense of spirit, a sense of aliveness that's gone missing because you're under all this other shit, right? A better relationship with food, right? Like all this dieting, all this stuff that's out there. It's like, it's really, really messing up everybody's heads when it comes to food. I see it, you probably see it in your newsfeed all day, like people who are just terrified of food now. And it's really sad. It's really, really sad. And I'm trying to do what I can to kind of stop this because it's not serving us at all. Like as a society, we're way more obese now than ever. And look at how many freaking diets there are out there, right? So something's not working. Feeling more confident, sticking to healthier habits, ending the self-sabotage, sleeping better, zipping up those jeans. You know that moment where you put your pants on? Oh, you can't see me. Do I have to demo this? Put your pants on, zip them up. Feels good, right? When you do that. Okay. So just bear with me for a second. So if you guys have got that, I'm going to move on to why you do all the right things, but you're not getting results. Okay. So just bear with me here for a second. Let me just clean all this out. Oh, and I said here, basically you feel like fucking death, but you continue to power through because that's what we do. We feel like shit, but we just power through. That's what I did for years. Like I felt like crap every day, every single day. I would wake up either with a migraine, or I would have like those cramps that I told you about. Sorry for the back of my head there. I would have those cramps that I told you about. And I felt horrible every day. And the mindset too. Like, I mean, how bad do you feel after a day or two of mentally beating yourself up. Like, it literally feels as if you have been physically beaten up, right? When you spend that time and that energy beating the shit out of yourself. And there's so many things that you can do to kind of override that. But it takes a long time. And the thing that is the reason why I say fuck dieting a lot is because it doesn't just take 21 days to move through this stuff. It takes a while. And a lot of the programs out there, or most of the programs out there, only focus on the food portion of things. Whereas I focus on both the food so that you're supported in that kind of way, because I know you want to and you need that. But also the mindset piece, so that you don't keep falling off the fucking wagon all the time, so that you don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again and feeling bad. That's part of the problem out there, is that there isn't a combination of those two things together in order to get you the results that you really, really want, so that you can finally be free of all of this. Like, how awesome would that feel? Okay, so let's do this. So I'm going to draw here. So this is an iceberg. Is it B-E-R-G or U-R-G? Anyway, okay, so here's the iceberg, okay? And then we have here, all right? So this is the tip of the iceberg, right? So you know icebergs, I'm sure, like if you're a nerd like me, you know all about icebergs and how they're melting, and it's like ruining the earth right now, and we're doing that. But anyway, that's another story for another live stream. That when you see an iceberg, like here's the water, right? This is all you see on the top. This is what sank the Titanic, right? You don't see all of this stuff. So this tip of the iceberg right here, this is all the doing, okay? So this is all your conscious doing. See, this is why I was hesitant to put this headset on. Okay, so this is all your conscious doing, all right? So what the hell does that mean? That means the gym. That means what food you're eating. That means like all the journaling and things like that, right? Right? Gym, like workouts, whatever it is that you're doing. So like that's the doing all the things. But the issue is that this is only 5% right here, okay? It's an iceberg, right? So it's only 5%. That's your conscious doing, right? So this is why you can say, well, Jesus, I'm doing all the friggin' things. Like I'm eating the food, I'm moving my body, I'm doing all these things, but it's not working. So fuck it, right? Like, I mean, why wouldn't you say that? That's what I did all the time. I was like, I'm doing all these things, it's not working. What the hell? What's going on under here is what I call like, well, hang on, let me find a different color. This is like the subconscious being. This is beliefs. But from a physiological standpoint, this is also root cause. Okay? This is something that doesn't ever get talked about out there in the marketplace in any of these programs or anything like that. I asked earlier today, do you know what leaky gut is? I asked yesterday, do you know what adrenal fatigue is, or do you know how you how you can tell if you have adrenal fatigue? And a lot of people said no. So the root cause of a lot of physical issues in your body is usually stemmed to some kind of stress. Well, that's usually the number one, if I'm honest. From everybody that I've worked with and everybody who's had hypothyroidism to fibromyalgia to diabetes to heart conditions to all of these things, the basic most underlying cause has been stress. And you might roll your eyes and be like, yeah, okay, well, what the hell? I mean, it's stress. We live in a stressful society. Like, that's just how it is. It's true. Very true. And especially if you own your own business and you have family and expectations and all the those thoughts, you know, that I said at the beginning of the video, like how you beat yourself up. I mean, that's fucking stressful. Trying to be perfect up here, that's all really stressful. I get it. But all of that, whether you think you've got a good handle on your stress or not, this actually causes so many problems in your body. It's not even funny. And so this is why dealing with all of these underneath stuff, this underneath of the iceberg here, is key to getting the results that you want, because this is the 95% of how you're going to get results. Okay. So like I said, stress, and then because this leads to digestive crap, right? Digestive stuff. Oh, I chose a really great word there. Digestive crap. This is like the bloating and the heartburn and all of that kind of stuff. So there is a direct correlation between your stress and your digestive system, right? Which I'm not going to go into now because that's not what this video is about. I just wanted to demonstrate that there is this this whole section of stuff here that is often ignored by the majority of programs that are on the market today that are designed to help you, you know, lose weight, feel better, and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm not ignoring any of that. So in all of the stuff that I have on offer, and especially this program that I've got coming up starting next week, the Delicious Life Movement, I'm covering this for sure, because you need to have this as a baseline to know if what you're eating is healthy and what swaps you can do and how to set your day up for success. There's meal plans, there's like all sorts of stuff, but then there's all of this stuff too. And this is the stuff that's going to help you get the results finally that you've been waiting to get in your body, so that this starts to pay off, right? And you start to get those results. You start to feel happier and more, you know, your head feels more on straight and you don't feel so shitty about yourself all of the time, right? It's about like also not having any judgment and not having any like major expectations of the fact that you're going to lose 10 pounds in 8 weeks or something like that. Like if you do, great. If you don't, okay, you know, I'm not going to lead out there with promises like that, because I think it's bullshit. And I think it sets people up for failure. And I'm probably going to be the most unpopular person by saying that, because I know everybody just wants those kinds of results. And I know I did when I first started. But at the end of the day, it took me 9 months to lose my weight. 9 months. Okay. Before I started to lose any kind of weight. It didn't take me 10 days to lose 10 pounds. Well, it did when I was taking pills and shakes and not eating and feeling like crap all the time. But when I started to take care of my body in a different kind of way and take care of all of this other stuff, that's when it started to come off. And I've never gained it back since. Never. Like, look at my body now. Like, I have not gained any weight since then, and I should have, right? I've had another baby. There's been stress, like there's been a lot of stuff going on, but because I have this baseline now, this reset metabolism, because of how I decided to approach food and eating, and from not a deprivation or not an elimination point of view, but from more adopting how the people around the world's healthiest civilizations eat. They don't eliminate or avoid anything. And food is such an enjoyable activity, and it's something that they do together as families. And it's a long, like, you know, think about a dinner out in Barcelona, you know, like it's not something that you eat standing, you know, rushed at the counter, right? So it's a mindset shift around all of this. And those are the kinds of things that I'm going to be teaching and going into depth with in this group program that I've got available it's actually starting on Monday. So if this is resonating with you, if this is of interest for you, and you want to dive deeper into this kind of stuff once and for all, and you trust me to be able to guide you through it, what have you got to lose? Like, I'm going to talk about the program in a quick second here for you. But I wanted to just run through this. I just got some notes here. I just want to make sure that I haven't missed anything. So this is like, you know, how you're being, this is like any kind of guilt or shame that you have and shame around stuff, your mindset, your mentality, right? Mentality. So I have these, sorry about my writing, it's so bad. I've got these 4 or 5 pillars that I talk about. And I believe that when you address these pillars, this is when you get the results. And this might seem really overwhelming, but it's actually not. It might feel like I'm putting a fire hose at you, but it's actually not. It's just because it's new information, and it's not this like quick, like, oh, just drink the shake and you'll be done. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? But obviously it's not working. It doesn't work long term. Okay, long term. So this is what I want for you, is long term results. I do not want this short term shit that causes you to lose weight and then causes your metabolism to slow down and then causes you to regain it again and causes you to feel like crap because you think that you can't do it. And it's not your fault. It's because that's what is out there and that's what's being pushed. Okay, so I want long term results for you so that you can feel good all the time and not feel good just for temporarily or just leading up to an event or something like that. So if you want that too, then you're in the right place. If you don't, if you're not there yet, if that's not in your headspace, then you can click off. All right, so there's your psychology. These are my pillars. Your psychology, so your physiology is in here too. And I'll go through what these mean. And I'm not spelling that right. Your purpose, I promise I am smart and I can spell. I'm just talking and spelling at the same time. I would have made a really bad teacher. Priorities and persuasion. Okay, so psychology, this is those subconscious beliefs, how you're being and all that kind of stuff. It's your mindset, right? It's your psychology. Your physiology, that's that root cause stuff that I was talking about. Oh, hang on a minute. Wait, you can't see what I'm writing. There we go. Yeah, you see, I made such a bad teacher. Okay, so psychology, those subconscious beliefs. Physiology, that's that root cause stuff, right? So that's the digestive stuff. Those are the actual physical symptoms that you're feeling, right? So the exhaustion, the sleep problems, the bloating, any kind of heartburn, any body pains or aches that you have. Anxiety and depression is a physiology as well, because it's all like hormone chemical based. The PMS or the bad menopause, right? Like anything like that. The low sex drive, not wanting to have sex. Big sign that your adrenals, that your stress is out of whack, unless you're with somebody who you just don't want to have sex with. Okay, purpose. So this is why do you get up every single day, right? If you think about it, if you hate portions of your life, you know, are you going to do things that make you feel good, or are you going to sit in front of the TV and stuff your face with chips, right? Like that's where a lot of the emotional eating and stuff like that comes from. Priorities. This is where I talk about relentless rituals, right? So this is where I talk about you're either relentlessly moving towards the life that you want every single day, or you're relentlessly moving towards the life that you don't want. And sometimes you could subconsciously, as I found out today with my coach, I'm subconsciously moving towards a life I don't want. I didn't even know I was doing it. I'm sitting there going, why is it, why? And he got me to break it all down. And I'm like, oh shit. So even I, like, you know, but priorities, like what is it that you're doing every day, right? And so this is where I like to talk about those rituals, like maybe meditation or whatever it is. And I'm going to go into this in detail in the course. And then persuasion, that's like who you're hanging out with, like who are your people. And I think if this stuff is resonating with you, if this is the type of environment you want to be in order to learn more about health and how to lose weight naturally and how to think better, then you want to be in a community of people who also think that, right? Because then you're going to get supported by it, right? It's not just going to be you alone by yourself trying to fight this battle and nobody really supporting you or understanding what it is that you're doing, right? So that's also why I created it as a group program, because I wanted to create a community of like-minded people who are tired of doing it the other way, or who never really liked doing it the other way. Like all of my clients, they don't understand dieting at all. They don't get it. They just think it's the worst thing ever. And you know, that's why fuck dieting resonates so much. So if you are in that camp and you are looking to make some changes in your life, but you're not quite ready for one-on-one support with me, which I can understand because it's, you know, it's an investment. But that could also be a really good thing too. You know, that's why I've created the Delicious Life Movement program, to help support you in that group setting so that you can have those people there with you to encourage you and to support you and to push you and motivate you, along with like an expert like me helping you out with the things that you really should be focusing on and maybe not focusing on. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to get my other board. Okay, so everything that I just talked about basically is this. It's your mind, your body, and your soul, right? The very, very first program I created when I first started my business was called the Body, Mind, Soul Detox. And I've had many iterations since then. If you look at the URL for my group name, it's called Body, Mind, Soul Detox because I changed the URL. I didn't realize you can never change it back again. Just a pro tip there if you are thinking about starting your own Facebook group, don't change the URL. Anyway, and I've come full circle to that because even despite going off and trying to find myself and try to find like what works for people, because it really is a combination of these three things, okay? It is a combination of your mind, which is that psychology, right? Your body, which is that physiology part, and your soul, which really encompasses, you know, those priorities and the purpose part, okay? Soul could mean spiritual soul, right? Like there's all sorts of different ways of looking at that. But this right here, this trifecta where it meets, that's your sweet spot. This is the sweet spot. This is the spot that is going to make the biggest impact and the biggest change where you want to live a better life. And I erased all those symptoms, you know, like not have those symptoms anymore that we talked about earlier on in this video, and start feeling better and, you know, feeling, more alive and vibrant and like you used to, and releasing anything that no longer serves you so that you can show up in the world and be like your badass, most amazing, amazing self without collapsing and feeling so exhausted, right? Like we need you alive, and the world needs you alive, and the world needs you feeling really good and feeling happy, right? And then when you're feeling that way, then it has this trickle effect. So that's always been sort of like my mission in a way. And with my private clients, I always call them my nutrition, when I was doing nutrition before, but it was like ambassadors, because they would take this information and then they would bring that to their colleagues. They would bring that to their clients. They would bring that to their patients. They would bring that to other places. And so everything that I was teaching them was then getting filtered out to the rest of the world. And it was friggin' amazing. I loved that because it meant that more and more and more people were starting to understand that there's other things to look at other than just like how much kale can you stuff down your face every single day, or how much other stuff can you avoid every single day in order to feel good, right? So anyway, I'll get off that rant horse for now. So I wanted to talk about the Delicious Life Movement, and this is the program that I have created, specifically addressing all of these things. This is a culmination of my experience as a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist, a functional nutritionist, which means like that's that root cause stuff that I was talking about, and a life coach. And also experience working with like hundreds of women and knowing what works and what doesn't work, plus my own personal experience. Like I know of what I speak from a personal point of view. I'm not just some skinny bitch who just, you know, decided to become a fucking health coach one day. Like I went through all of this and I still work on it every single day. But I tell you what, the food portion of it is something that I do not stress about at all anymore, because I know exactly how to manage that. And I know that that's a big stressful part for a lot of people. And so that's why I've decided to create it as a nutrition and lifestyle course, okay? There's just one thing I want to do here because I want to take a look at something. Okay. Right. So what you're going to get is basically 8 weeks of pretty much almost one-on-one coaching with me. This isn't going to be a group coaching program with like hundreds of people in it. I'm capping it at a certain amount. So there's still only a couple spots left. So if you are interested in this, make sure you get in. But 8 weeks, like basically within that small intimate group, if you've got questions, I have answers and I will be able to answer. So my private clients hire me out and we have an hour-long conversation once a week for three times a month. Okay. This, you're going to have me 4 times a month over the next 2 months. All right. Plus I'm going to be in the Facebook group doing live streams and coming in there and giving a ton more added value. And if you have additional questions, you can post them in the group and I will answer them like right then and there. So that's almost a little bit more than what my private clients are getting, and they're paying thousands of dollars to work with me. So 8 weeks of virtual one-on-one coaching with me. This is nutrition and lifestyle, and that's about a $4,000 value. So now I talked about the food portion of it. So that's, you're going to get the Fuck Dieting food plan, and that includes recipes, shopping lists, everything that you're going to need in order to set you up for success there. So that's about $150 value. Like I said before, there is a private group, and this is for like that accountability and that support and having that community of women. Access to all of my resources. I have tons of resources. I put $1,000 here, but it's probably worth way more than that if we really sat down and looked at what the value would be for you to change your life just on these resources alone. All of the tools that you're going to need in order to reach that sweet spot. This is designed for the busy person. Okay, I know you're busy. I know you're overwhelmed. I know you've already got a lot of shit going on. So everything that I've given and even the recipes and stuff, it's not going to mean you need an entire overhaul. To me, when I was looking at a lot of the diet programs years ago, I was like, this is so much fucking work. Like, I'm so busy. I have a job. I have a kid. Like, how am I supposed to cook all this food and prep all this stuff? Like, that's why it never appealed to me. So again, if that's what you're feeling, then, you know, this is the program for you, because this is not going to be a massive overhaul like that. It's the small tweaks that make the biggest impact. I promise you on that. Okay. Designed to get you results. I know this works. I know this works. So you will get results. Accountability. Nobody gets left behind and nobody fails. If there's anybody struggling in this program whatsoever, I will personally see to it that that person gets extra support and tons of bonuses. I'm extremely generous and in what I give away, and you know, I probably will create something new to give away too while I'm in the program, based on whatever is coming up within the people that are in there. And you know, I ran something very similar last summer. The Delicious Life movement, and it was more of a food-based program, but people got some amazing results in it. You know, like, I know I said that this isn't like focused on weight loss or anything, but that people did lose weight, and that was only a 6-week program, I think. And you know, within like by the third week, and that wasn't a diet program, it was a similar kind of thing like this. People were starting to lose weight. People were starting to make some really serious habit changes, and it made some big impact on their lives. So we're going to start with module 1, where we're setting your new compass. So we're going to like tear off all the shit that hasn't been working for you and invite in some new stuff. And it's kind of like the introductory module in a way, like getting you all set up for success for the rest of the program. Module 2, we're going to fuel your body, basically. And this is where we're going to focus your foundation on your food and all of that stuff that comes up in terms of like, what should I eat? What should I not be eating? And the tricks of the trade, if you will, that I used and that I use on my clients as well. Finding calm in your chaos. So this is fuck burnout. Again, like I said, stress, huge root cause for a lot of problems. And I'm going to go into all of that and show you how much of an impact and what you can do about it. Okay. Sumptuous self-care is module 4. Again, like taking care of yourself. This is something that women are so bad at. I did a live stream on this the other day, called it Womanitis. Women are so bad at self-care because, I don't know, we just are. And so I'm going to show you ways in which you can do it without feeling guilty, and that doesn't take up so much more of your time that because you're already feeling overwhelmed, okay? Modules 5 and 6, this is weeks 5 and 6, we're going to slay your sabotages. So this is where all that shit, all those beliefs, all those sabotages, all those things that keep taking you out all the time, and it doesn't always have to be with food, it could be with other things too, right? We are going to slay that stuff so that you can have this big awareness of when you see, oh God, I'm about to do that behavior again, you can stop yourself, okay? And then the last 2 modules is finding and keeping your inner superwoman. This is like to help you set you up for unapologetic success, not just within the program, but in your entire life. I want to, build a community of women who are super strong and feel empowered and feel that they can take on the world, who think good thoughts about themselves. There's nothing worse than beating yourself up like crazy. And let's stop that, because it is really forcing women to play so small and be smaller and be less than what we have the full capacity to be. And I want to witness that for you. I want to hold space for that for you so that you can go out, finish the program, and go out stronger than when you came in. Okay, so that's the program. So, I mean, if you do the math, you're looking at around $5,000 for all of that, at least. Really, if I just did some quick numbers here, but really, if I added up all those bonuses and stuff, it would probably be way more than that. And to work with me privately is more than that. So, yeah, this program for this round is only $397. That's it. So it's kind of one of those no-brainer prices that, if you are ready to make changes in your life and you are ready to make the shifts, then this is the program for you. And if it's resonating, obviously, this is the program for you. And for this price point, you can't go wrong. I have a money back guarantee. So if you join and you're like, what the hell is this? We'll have a conversation about it. I do have a policy around the money back guarantee, but there's a money back guarantee. And also, if you want to bring a friend, it's buy one, get one 50% off. You get 50% off. So for the 2 of you, oh shoot, I don't have the number in front of me. I'd have to do the math. It's like 500 and change. Hang on a second. 595. There it is. $595. So for 2 of you to come in, okay? So that's a huge savings right there. So it's kind of a no-brainer. If this is resonating with you and you're thinking, you know what, I really need to make some shifts and some changes into my life, and now's the time. There's never, ever, ever a good time. There's never a good time to start these kinds of programs. Never. There's always going to be something else that is in the way. There's always going to be something else that you should be doing. There's always going to be something else that you should be spending your money on. Always. There always is. What could I have done with that $15,000 that I spent on my last coach? Or the first coach, sorry, not my last coach. I've spent like hundreds of thousands since. What do you think I could have done with that initial $15,000? I could have done a lot, right? I could have had a brand new kitchen for that. But I got a brand new life for that. Brand new life. And if your life isn't worth $397 or isn't worth 8 weeks, these 8 weeks are going to come and go regardless. And I'm sure you've got a lot of shit going on in the next few weeks. So do I. I've got 2 kids starting school in September. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 speaking events and trips and engagements and stuff coming up over the next 2 months. So I'm busy too, but I am 100% confident that this is going to help you navigate that busyness and be able to show up and take care of yourself and show up and do the busy life that you live, and do it without feeling so freaking exhausted all the time, without feeling like shit all the time in your body, and to do it feeling more confident and feeling happier and more centered and calm and in control, right? Like I said, there's never a good time, ever. If you want to wait until January, like the whole January thing, by all means, I'm probably going to triple the price of this program at that point. I'll have run it a couple of times by January, and it's not going to be $397 again. So we start on Monday the 14th. All right. If you want to sign up, I'm going to put the link for it in here. It's all over my news feed, so there's no reason why you haven't seen it. And come join. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, you're going to get some like kick-ass results. So please join. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side. If you have any questions or you're not sure if I haven't covered anything or anything like that, let's say you're maybe on vacation next week and you're wondering if you can start the week after. Yes, you can. But just feel free to send me a message. Even actually on the form, there's an opportunity for you to book in a call with me to talk about this if you're not sure. But feel free to send me a PM or something like that if there's anything that I haven't really addressed here that you're concerned about. If the program's not right for you, I'll tell you. I'm not looking to just fill this with just anybody. I'm looking to fill this with people who I can really help and who are ready for this type of work. And not everybody's ready for this, and you might not be ready for this kind of work. And if you're not, then I have some other programs that are do it yourself and for $30 or whatever that you can take a look at. You can also message me about that as well. But this is for women who are really ready. You're done, and you're wanting to take it to the next level. So I'll put the thing on there. Thank you so much for watching. If you've joined late, if you go back to the beginning, I talk about my story and how I got here and the struggles that I had in terms of, the weight gain and not being able to stick to my goals and do what I needed to do and all the mindset shit that I was struggling with because of how I grew up and all of that stuff. And then I talked a little bit more about, what's going on in terms of like that iceberg, remember, that conscious doing versus the subconscious being and all the root cause stuff that's going on in your body that is stopping you from being able to get to that next level, wherever it is that you want to go, of feeling healthier and feeling more confident. So thank you again so much for those of you who've stayed on the entire live. I really, really appreciate that. And that's all I wanted to say today. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I will see you on the next live stream. Bye for now.